Some general concepts in using press releases is, after the sale. So how you're selling press releases specifically to your customers. The first one is that press releases are high value commodity, right? Especially the premium press releases, Yahoo, MSN, those are big names that people don't necessarily know how to get onto. And, so you can definitely leverage those big brands as part of that value setting for your overall offering, if you're using press releases in a way that's visible to your client. And since they're flexible, I would actually recommend using them both client facing and a little bit more under the radar, right? We'll talk about some of the different options here in a minute, but you can have some press releases that your clients have input on and that they see and that you share with them, and some that you don't. And where those might be the ones where you're doing some more kind of hardcore SEO stuff that your client's not going to understand and you don't want to explain to them. But it's super flexible, so we don't push one method onto you, of course, and so you can use that to to your advantage and have some nice visible press releases, maybe push those out to premium so that you get the big brand names, and then you can you can use some of the more generic press releases for keywords and for backlinks and stuff like that. The other thing that is just kind of that standard process, I would say, that you should do for every single client is that first press release you send out, bump it up to premium, and then send them a copy of the just send them a link to it on Yahoo, or on Yahoo Finance, or something, MSN maybe, or both Yahoo and MSN. It gives you a tangible deliverable, and this is important because as we know, SEO results take time. And we may have 3-4 months where we're doing work for a client before they actually start seeing some significant results, because SERPs movement takes time. And if we can show them tangible things that you have done, like putting a press release onto Yahoo, they don't necessarily know how easy it was for you to do. All they know is that you did it, and it's something visible that you can show them, and you can say, hey, look, we are delivering you results. If you're on gold, this is even better, because every single one of your press releases goes onto msn.com. And so you're not incurring the extra fee of the premium. You just get that as part of your original package. And then don't sell these cheaply. Full retail for a press release in today is north of $800. So don't sell these for $100, right? I mean, number one, you'd probably, depending on the plan you're on, you might be losing money on at $100. But if they have to go out and buy these for $800, especially if in some of these other strategies that we'll talk about in a minute, where it's more event focused, then why are you underselling? What they're going to wonder, well, shoot, if I go to PR Web or something and pay $800 for a press release, why are you only charging me $100 for that? What's wrong with your press releases? And then obviously, you should encourage people to have more recurring revenue towards you, and spend money with you consistently. And to do that, make sure that the a la carte releases, those one-offs, that those are more expensive than your recurring ones. Any questions after that? Okay, when I share premium and other press releases, I say those one premium and 2 normal PRs valued as $3,000. No, I think that's a good dollar amount, right? Because they aren't necessarily number one, if they call Cision or PR Web, they're going to get on a sales call and they are going to pitch them. If they go on to somebody like newswire.com, they're going to find it to be very expensive. You could, the one problem that I would say with that $3,000 is that anchoring might be a little high. And then when you come in and say, I'm only charging you $300, they're going to wonder, well, why? So make sure that the difference between the value, prop that you're setting and the, the amount that you're charging, that the difference isn't too big. But generally speaking, if you think that a press release is generally available for about $800, that's going to be a pretty solid thing. I was looked on some of the marketplace sites where you can buy press releases, the one-off type stuff, and I even saw MSN placement for $1,000, which is worst case scenario, you get for $150 if you're on a standard plan, and if you're on gold, you get that automatically. So the value is certainly there to that end customer, and you know, that's even bigger towards the end customer, because that $1,000 for the MSN post, the target audience for that is somebody who's, you know, an SEO consultant or an SEO agency. So they're going to mark that up again even more. So, you know, when you start looking at that kind of placement, you know, $3,000, that's not too far off. So any other questions?